Yo, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel, and today is officially the release of Black Ops 6. And I've got for you guys the best settings and a few quick tips and tricks on how you guys can level up quickly, get more headshots for gold camo, stuff like that. So let's get right into it with a few tips and tricks, then we'll get right into the settings. So the first thing I kind of wanted to go through was just how the gold camos actually work this year and why I think it could be one of the easiest grinds we have to do. So as you could see, the first kind of stage of camos is you have to get 100 headshots with the weapons, right? Once you do that, you then have 2 challenges per weapon. So for this case, it's get 30 kills shortly after sprinting, and then it's get 50 eliminations with a suppressor equipped. As you can see, once you get the original military camos, you can get the 2 special camos together. So you don't have to do them one by one, they kind of come through together. Once they are then done, you then unlock gold camo, which you only have to get 10 double kills. So it's quite simple, it doesn't take too long, and you can really get through them. The other benefit you have is you don't have to level up your weapon anymore. So let's just say you pick up the Jackal, level 1 straight off the box, you can go through and you can start to get the camos on it without doing anything else, without leveling it up, which I think is really beneficial. So when going through, I would recommend when you're playing and you're leveling up your weapons, just go through and try to get gold in every weapon, because the dark matter for me looks really good, and I don't think the grind takes too long. So that's my first thing, is just the easy kind of way to get camos. The next thing I would say, my biggest tip, use your launcher off the break. I promise you guys won't regret it. If you guys use your launcher at the start and get kills when you can, you will find it a lot easier. I've been using this all day and I'm almost on 50 kills now. Once I get that, I then have to get 10 direct kills and 10 aerial score streaks. Once I get those, it will be so much easier, because I then have my launchers done. The launchers for me are the most difficult parts of the gold and diamond grind. The actual ARs and subs and primary weapons generally, they're not too bad. They're a little bit of a grind, but they're not too difficult. The launchers are what are quite difficult. So if you can get them done while you're playing, for me, it's the best way to do it, as well as your knife. Try to prioritize them early game, because once they're done, you're good to go. The next thing is, we'll go through an in-depth guide, but I just thought, why not show you guys as a class setup. If you guys are going for headshots, this is what I recommend doing. Getting tactical expert on, using double stun grenades, so when you're going through, you can chuck your stuns and it makes it so much easier to line up those headshots. Really recommend doing that. The next thing is the way perk systems work right now. If you look right now, we have red, blue, and green. They're not just colors on the map, they also represent something, okay? Let's just say we have dexterity on, which I think is a good perk. The problem you have now is you lose your specialty. In order to get a specialty, as you can see from the right, you need to get 3 perks from the same color. So if we were to have 3 red perks, what we will then have is we'll have the Enforcer specialty. So killing enemies grant a temporary buff to movement speed and health regen. Now I think this is the best thing for competitive as an SMG player, but for pubs, the green one is the best by far. We're going to go through and explain why. If we go across, you can see, let's just say we have the green one. We then get strategist, and what we get with that is earn a score bonus for objectives and destroying enemy equipment. See equipment through walls, deploy equipment and field upgrades faster. The score bonus is everything, because it essentially allows you to get more XP. I don't know if that's true, if it's just more score, but I'm pretty sure that translates. So for me, when I've used it, I feel like you get a lot more score faster. So if you're trying to race for that master prestige, I would recommend going for the 3 green perks. If you're not, then I would recommend going for maybe blue or red, because it's a little bit, I would say the perks are better for blue and red, but again, just for strategists, I would say go for green. So that's kind of my class setup, what I would say. And yeah, those are my tips for my class setup. We already have 1 gold gun on the first day. We're going to try and get a few more tomorrow, but I think the grind overall is pretty good. Let's go through into our settings. So I experimented with some settings. These are what I found at the end of the first day. I wanted to stream for a bit, for a few hours, and then kind of give you my settings. So we're going to start off. This is, no matter if you guys are on console or PC, we'll be breaking it down. Starting off with our keyboard and mouse. We don't actually use that, so we are a controller player. We go through, and you can see we don't change anything there because we don't use that. So we're going to go straight to controller. Default flip for me personally, I have a scuff, so I like to use default flip. That's what I like to use. I actually broke my PC recently, if you guys know, and what I did do is I actually played on stick and move on my console. It took a little bit of getting used to. I didn't really play too much. I stopped playing because it was the off season, but I would recommend using stick and move, because you can jump while the main thing is you want to be able to jump while keeping your right thumb on the right stick. That's the main thing, because you want to be able to aim while jumping. So stick and move allows you to do that. I would recommend trying that if you don't have a scuff. If you do have a scuff or you play with paddles, I would recommend default flip. I think it's better than tactical. I switched last year and I think there's a bit more benefits with sliding with your back paddle rather than your right stick. Then we go through, we have 6-6 sensitivity. Some of the pros are playing 7-7. I think it's personal preference. You guys know sometimes I play 10-7, sometimes I play 6-6. Right now we're on 6-6 and it's pretty good in this game. I think it's always going to be pretty good, so that's what we're going with. Then we have the rest of it, pretty simple. Again, I play with that switch. I think that's quite important. The next thing we wanted to go through is actually our dead zones, which I can't see right now. There you go. So controller vibration off, and our dead zones, very, very important. I go for 3 on the left stick. I go for 75 on the left stick max. I go for 3 on the right stick, and I go for 99 on the right stick max. If you feel like you got a bit of stick drift, move this up to 4. If it gets to 5 and you still have stick drift, I would say it's probably worth getting a new controller, because at that point it's quite high. I would say anywhere between 1 and 3 is a good mark. I leave it on about 3. Then we go to the aiming. We have standard stuff there. We have aiming advanced, really important. You want to put on dynamic. Dynamic is basically the most broken aim response curve. So you want to make sure you have that a part of your arsenal. Put dynamic on it, just make sure overall shot easier. It's not really a negotiable. It's just something you need to have on to improve your shot. Then we go through target aim is obviously on. Motion sensor, you turn that off. We don't need any of that. Go to motion sensor advanced. It should all be off. You're good to go. Go to movement here. Tactical sprint assist. This is essentially your attack sprint from last year. We want to keep that on. Tactical sprint assist. Mantle, we keep that on off, tight, off. Corner slice, I don't know what that is. I left it on. It's quite a new feature. Then this really gets interesting. Slide and dive behavior. I keep that on hybrid. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's by far the best mechanic for movement, especially with diving this year. I highly recommend keeping it on hybrid. Then we have the auto door peak, which we're not going to really worry about. Keep going through. I would just copy these settings, to be honest with you. Nothing crazy, but I would just copy them. And yeah, that's it for movement. Then we go through to combat. I'm trying to think. I don't think I changed anything here, to be honest with you. Oh, what's going on here? They love putting me in the servers in the middle of my videos. Okay, yeah. I don't think I changed anything here, so I would kind of keep that. The only thing I would say, yeah, that's it. Honestly, I didn't change anything. This one, personally, I actually do change. Most people don't have it on that. They leave it on tap to reload. I personally like prioritize interact. It's more of a Warzone thing, but I like it in multiplayer as well. It just, for me, it's a little bit easier to do like doors and pick stuff up. So I like that on, but that's a personal preference thing. Then we go over to the graphics setting. I know you guys have been waiting for the graphics. I don't know what the best one for this is. I think I've just left it on exclusive. I don't know if there's a better one, so don't quote me on that. I play on a Odyssey 27-inch monitor, really good. It's a G7 Odyssey, if you guys are interested, a really good monitor. And then yeah, I have an AMD Radeon 17900, which is pretty good. It gets me about 250 frames, which is more than enough. Play on a 240 hertz monitor, and that's why the frames are more than enough. We play 2560 by 1440, 1440p, really nice to play on. I highly recommend getting a 1440p monitor. I think the Samsung G7 Odyssey is a really good one. I might put the link in the description. If I forget, just look up Samsung G7 Odyssey, great monitor. Then we go through, and yeah, that's basically, I don't touch anything else here. I don't really, touch any of that. Menu frame limit, I'll put on 60, just because it makes your game less buggy in your menus. Then we go to quality, and again, all this stuff is pretty standard. Don't really touch anything. I would say for your upscaling, you want to put that on FID. I can't even say that. We're going to move on. I've been streaming for 8 hours. We're going to move on. Keep that on that. VRAM on 80. There you go. Texture, we put on normal, off, low, off, low, minimal. Again, just kind of copy those as I go through them. There's no real reason. It's just these are the best graphic settings. I've used a few other streamers' versions of this. I've tried it out myself, made a few small changes, but these are generally what people have. They just have low and medium on most of them, and your game still looks pretty good with it. So I would recommend trying it. If you feel like you want to change any, feel free to change it. 103 FOV is something I'm comfortable with. I play 120 on Warzone. For multiplayer, I'm kind of comfortable with 103, so I keep it on that. Affected, I think, is for me, it's just a lot more beneficial. Independent basically means when you aim in, your gun doesn't really aim in with it. It's better for the longer range players because your gun stays where it is, where affected it zooms in with it, so it's nice for that short to medium range. But generally I think affected is better. Then we have the wide field of view. I would recommend that. Third person on 90. Yes, go down. This is important. Camera, if you guys feel like your game's a bit shaky, a bit all over the place, this is on by default. I don't know why. I think they troll us. Turn it off. First and third person put on least 50 and you guys are good to go. Inverted flashbang, when you leave it off, what happens is when you get flashbang, your screen goes bright white. when you have it on, your screen goes black. It's just one of those things where just visually, when it goes white, and say you have a dark room, you're playing in the evening, sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming. So I would always have that on. Then we go through to the next setting. We have the benchmark. That's just to test your settings. Don't really need to play around with that. Audio, nothing crazy here. As you can see, the only thing we do end up changing is if we go down. Where is it? You can see right here, we turn our gameplay music volume down. I don't really like having music in mine, so we just have dialogue and effects. I can't remember which one. I think dialogue's the one you don't need, but yeah, you can turn that down. For me, I just kept it on, but you can change that if you want. Audio is one of those where it's nothing crazy. It's kind of just down to your own system, so we don't really need to mess with that. The last thing we need to go through is our interface. So go through. Again, I will turn this off. This is more for campaigns and stuff, so it doesn't really apply to me. But then we have our custom telemetry. This is what I think is really important. Keep your FPS counter on for PC players and your server latency. Really important. It shows you your ping. You know, you want to see your ping in game in case something's going wrong. You want to be able to see it. Then we go through. We have our readability or nothing. Gameplay HUD. I actually have my HUD all the way in. If we go to our HUD bounds, I have mine all the way in. Just makes everything nice and in the middle when I'm playing the game. Minimap you want to put on to square. Then we have rotation we want to keep on. Radar, I think we keep that on actually. I don't know why I have that off. I think that's better on. So that one I might have to double check. We'll favorite that for now. Another tip is if you guys are experimenting with settings, press Y or triangle. You can favorite it. Then you can try the different settings, right? So if we go through to our favorite, you can see it's right there. It's on our quick settings, right? So sometimes I change this to tap to reload. It's on our quick settings. If I go on Warzone, it's on my quick settings. Nice and easy. So you go back through here. We'll experiment with that. Compass type, I leave that on minimap. And that's it. That's the main thing. Crosshair, I personally like larger. Some people like default. I like larger. I think it just makes your crosshair a little bit bigger. I've actually made a nice little feature where you can change the color of your crosshair. You know, just a nice little feature. Doesn't change too much, but worth looking at. Then we go through. No, I don't change anything else. That's literally it. But you can mess around with the colors, which we're going to quickly go through and check out. Where are the colors? I think that's the last thing we need to look at. Honestly, don't know where it is. We've streamed for so long today, I'm going to leave the colors out. It is what it is. We'll make a separate video on that if you guys are looking at the brightness and stuff like that. But yeah, that's going to be it. That's going to be all our settings. If you guys, have any questions, let me know. Like I said, in terms of the class setup, settings, all that stuff. Right now, what we're trying to do at the start of the year, until Ranked Play and Warzone are out, we're just trying to go through. I'm trying to level up all my weapons. So I have them for Warzone when they come up for the meta, and we're trying to get gold on every single weapon. I'm going for the camo grind, so I will have specific camo tips and tricks for you guys out in the next few days. Let me know though, because I know there's specific questions you guys have. Let me know down below, and I'll make sure to do that for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys for another one tomorrow. Peace.